Hey everybody. Hey. Good morning. Good morning everyone. Welcome to Easy Markets, Daily Pitch International with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 13th. 13th of December 2023, guys. So the last third day of the last 13th of the month this year, basically. So yeah, guys, look, I think I'm gonna do a lot of these things, like where I'm gonna say, oh, it's the last one for this year, like it sounds kind of cool. But hey, look, before we jump into the charts as usual here, I mean, we look at technical analysis, fundamental analysis, just in general what's happening in the market. So before going there, we need to quickly have a read through our risk disclaimers. So yep, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendations and should not be considered as such. This material should not be taken as an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. Look, I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest. I'll disappear from that little left corner and I'll be back in a bit. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump into the charts, just a quick mentioning of our Easy Markets website, which you can always check out for more information about us. So if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us. So guys, let's have a look at what's happening with the market. Now, Nikkei 225. So I talked about Nikkei 225 already this week, of course, and well, to be honest, I pick up on that one every time. This is my first index that I look at, and basically I can say the same thing, that the idea is still working out. So my idea was that look, if we do clear both of these trend lines, which are, to be honest, a little bit on the tentative side, so they don't have many touches, and to be honest, they might not really even carry much significance, but I have them on the chart here because they are aligned perfectly with my this highlighted zone right here, which is roughly around the 33,200 territory. So if we get a nice pop above that, then yes, I will consider some moves to the upside. In terms of the downside, well, I mean, I would like to see a drop below the 100-day EMA here in order to go for some lower levels. Until then, I'm just observing the price action and enjoying life. That's it. China 50 index. So, oh, by the way, Nikkei this morning, we got some data from Japan. We got a bunch of Tankan, small and large non-manufacturers and manufacturers indices, yes. And those came out like a little bit on the mixed side. So yeah, you can check out the economic calendar for that. So maybe that's what kind of kept the index from maybe pushing, let's say, higher a little bit, or lower back down. So yeah, that's why I think that mainly the Nikkei will be waiting for the reaction in the U.S. market today. So China 50, and there we go. We drifted lower again. So I talked about this one, and I said too that, look, I'm keeping a close eye on this 11,158 territory. That's the lowest point of 2022. We are revisiting it again. So it seems like China 50 here doesn't really want to go higher. I mean, I talked about this idea, this scenario where I said that if we do push above the 11,400 territory and stay above it, then yes, there is a good chance for this one to drift further or should I say a little bit higher. But as we can see here, the bears took control again, and that's understandable because the markets have been quite overbought lately. So, I mean, maybe not China 50, but if that one, let's say, if indices are rising, other Western indices were rising, China 50 index was dropping, or not significantly, or let's say not strongly, and but now when there's like potential fear that the indices might reverse lower, that's what's also like this is like putting more pressure on the China 50 index. So it's not in the best situation right now. However, don't get me wrong, at some point it might present itself with a nice opportunity. At the moment, well, I'm only examining the downside. However, I'm really curious what's going to happen with this 2022 lowest point. And will we drop and stay below it, or actually will we continue flirting with it, like rebounding from it? So that's why I'm just a little bit on the careful side right now. ASX 200, there we go, we're clearing the upper side of the rising channel, and there we go. It seems like we want to go towards this territory, which is roughly between the 7,325 and 7,333 levels. Look, we do have, of course, much higher levels than that, but let's go slowly, step by step. Let's not rush into things. And let me just put this on here. I need to change that again. So yes, I mean, so we do have this level here. I don't like this. There we go. And the 7,445 zone, roughly around there. So good potential target as well, but that's the highest point of this year. Is that? Yeah, no, sorry, not the highest point. The highest point of this year so far is this, and I doubt that by the end of the year we will reach that. But what's also here to consider is a trend line, which you probably don't look at very often, but hey, that's the goal here. That's where it could travel to. So good potential area of resistance. So let's see if we can reach that eventually. Now let's jump into the Dow. Let's see what's happening here. And yesterday we saw the U.S. indices closing in positive territory. Obviously, if the Dow was not the best performer, maybe NASDAQ took its spot. So they kind of swapped. They have a shift. I think they have a rota. This day I'm higher, this day I am higher, and then or the other way around. This day I'm falling much more than you, and so on and so on. So, and S&P is somewhere like a referee between them. Yeah. Oh, excuse me. So now then, so coming back to the technical bit. Oh, good morning, Daredevil Dave. Good morning. Good morning. I hope you're doing well. Good morning, everyone as well in the chat room there, whoever's tuning in right now. So I hope everybody's having a beautiful start of Wednesday. So yes, so far so good. Look, I mean, I talked about this. I mean, this is working out nicely, and we are aiming for my 36,832 mark right here, which is the highest point of 2022, or the other way around, the current all-time high. So yeah, so we are aiming for that one, and I think that it seems like we are on the right track. So again, let's see what's going to happen today with the Fed. Now, of course, the idea there is the Fed will not do anything. We'll keep the rates the same, and this kind of maybe this is what's acting out nicely in favor of the indices, because they know that there's not going to be a rate hike. So yes, why not to rally, right? And this is exactly what it's doing right now. So the index is pushing higher. I said to you before that if we do pop and stay above the 36,335 territory, my next target is this all-time high, and then we will go from there. Now, look, what to keep in mind, of course, for today is that you need to be careful and don't look at the interest rate decision. Yes, okay, that's fine, but that's just gonna if it's gonna stay the same, then market reaction is not gonna be that big. But I think the press conference, that's what's gonna be a little bit more interesting, because everybody will be listening to Jerome Powell, because we have a an issue. Well, not an issue, but what's the word for that? We have like a situation where basically inflation, which came out yesterday, was flat, kind of. It was like just exactly as expected, and the expectation was already near the previous numbers. So we're not dropping, but we're not going higher. So, and it's kind of, like I said, it kind of puts the Fed in this itchy situation where, I mean, everybody's expecting for some sort of guidance, but you can't give much because inflation is not really doing much. So, so sorry for picking my nose a little bit. My nose is itchy today, so apologies for that. But yeah, like I said, there is like no clear guidance from the Fed, because again, they cannot do much and they cannot say much because the inflation is not really going anywhere. So, we have to sit and wait until we see some sort of maybe bigger shifts in inflation, and then we can go from there. But at this point, we're just observing the price action. We're really not doing much. And to be honest, if everything kind of stays the same as it is, that's actually good for the stock market, and that hence why we are still aiming to the upside. Now, in terms of the downside, I would like to see a drop below the 36,057 territory here. I mean, that's my ideal scenario, but I mean, I will start probably looking at some lower levels if we by any chance move back below the 36,335 territory right here. The S&P 500, so there we go. We cleared the, that's not the all-time high, but we cleared this hurdle here. Yeah, so, just wanted to double check this idea here. That was like, okay, a while ago. Okay, that's interesting. So, but that's not mine. That's somebody else's. When was that? December 28, 21. Okay, that's interesting. So yes, I mean, you remember in December 21, we've hit the all-time high, and yes, I mean, it kind of from there we drifted lower quite significantly. So look, we overcame the previous highest point of this year. So that's kind of good. So yesterday that happened, we cleared it, and we're now staying above that area. So basically this idea worked out nicely. This box we need to get rid of it. This upside line, yes, something that I'm gonna keep an eye on for now. Maybe we will keep an eye on this upside line right here. And yes, I mean, so far I would say the target is the current all-time high, ideally. But the question is, can we reach that 4,808 zone? I mean, look, it's a good run. I get it, but a bit of a retracement here is needed, because at the moment it is just crazy, I would say. But hey, what do you want? Like, I mean, we have this Santa Claus rally, or should I say, we already had the Santa Claus rally. So in November, it's just like a continuation of the Santa Claus rally right now. This December month, like an added bonus, honestly. But look, of course, everybody's hoping to see maybe a bit of a correction back down. But at the moment, yep, it is just one-way traffic. NASDAQ 100, so similar story. We cleared this box, and yep, we can get rid of it now. So we also popped above the 16,062 territory. I spoke about that level, and we stayed above it. So yep, my next target is the all-time high. Well, first, it's of course is the highest point of this the 27th of December. Is that correct? Let me just double check. This 28th of December. Yep, that's gonna be my next target, the 28th of December of 2021, near the 16,659, and then I'm gonna aim for the all-time high here on the NASDAQ 100, and that's roughly around the 16, or should I say, a beautiful number of 16767 on the futures here. So yeah, good potential target. In terms of the downside, if you're looking for some lower levels, then I would say a drop back below the 16,000 mark could do the trick for a few more sellers here, where we could consider maybe a larger correction to the downside. The German index DAX. I mean, talking about this animal, it is just wow. So, of course, everybody's looking for maybe a bit of a correction here to the downside. I mean, a little bit of breathing space would be nice for the bears, but yeah, the bears are crushed right now, so we're just struggling to find any ceiling on this one, right? I mean, look, today we have the Fed. So we'll see how the market reacts there. Most likely, DAX will follow suit in the future on the futures, and just then maybe again tomorrow it will act accordingly. And tomorrow also, just to let you know that we do have the ECB. The last interest rate decision from the ECB. And yes, that one is also expected to stay the same, basically. So, yeah, I mean, not much to say here. So, apart from the fact that, yeah, it's going to be an interesting roller coaster ride here. I mean, today and tomorrow. So let me just double check very quickly something here on Thursday. I mean, we do have the BOE as well coming out, so that's something to keep in mind. So that's coming out before the ECB tomorrow. So, and then like I said, yeah, we have the interest rate decision after the BOE, just an hour and 15 minutes after, and then we'll have the press conference, if I'm not mistaken. Just let me double check. Yes, that's correct, and that's coming out in half an hour after the interest rate decision. So, long story short, with coming back to DAX, the situation is that look, I'm not saying that we're done with the upside. No, unfortunately, maybe for some, but it has been quite a strong one here. Look, the only kind of thing that kind of let's say keeps me the only thing that kind of right now is kind of telling me that, hey, maybe we'll get a little bit of a correction back down, is the fact that yesterday we closed in negative territory here in DAX, and judging by this candle here. So, and was that the case? Actually, let me just double check. That's a very good question. So let me just double check this very quickly. Indices. So yesterday. Where are those major indices? Let me just double check. Right. Yes, so we closed fractionally in the red yesterday. So yeah, okay, that's all fine. Now, I just wanted to double check that one. And look, given that, I mean, of course, I would like to see some maybe a correction, a larger correction to the downside. And yesterday, if you remember, I talked about this little hurdle here, this 16,808 zone, and we did clear below it. We did clear it. We did fall below it, and then we struggled. We struggled to go further south. So look, at the moment, I'm going to keep an eye on this hurdle. If we do fall and stay below it again, then yes, potentially more sellers here could join in, but probably more of them could join in if we do drop below this 16,765 territory. That's the low of yesterday on the futures here. And if we clear that one, then yes, I will go lower. So that's my game plan here with the German index DAX, and for the upside, yes, a push with that 16,866 territory, which, by the way, is the all-time high on this index. Yep, we're sitting in these all-time high levels, so okay, that's interesting. So maybe a bit of a correction would be nice, to be honest, but hey, the market is still strong, so let's not rush into things. So, jumping into the FTSE 100, guys. So we reached my target. My target was this downside line. So, okay, perfect. What's next? Well, next is this, that if we do if we do break the downside line, then yes, I will continue aiming higher within that rising channel formation. In terms of the downside, I would like to see a drop below the lower side of the rising channel, and then yes, we could take it from there. US dollar index, there we go. Oh, by the way, yes, of course, keep your eyes on the BOE with the for the FTSE 100, and that one is coming out tomorrow with their interest rate decision as well. So, so yes, the US dollar, this is something that we're going to be keeping a close eye on. We had a strong reaction well, kind of a reaction. We had initial reaction in the dollar, in the US dollar. It kind of drifted lower because inflation came out flat, but then it kind of stabilized, everything corrected back up, and to be honest, quite logical because, like I said, inflation came out flat, so all is good. Now, I mean, from the technical perspective, we can see that we remain above the upside support line, this one drawn from the low of the 28th of November, and we also are back above this 103.82 level right here, which I talked about previously. However, I think it's going to be time to get rid of it because somehow it's kind of acting as a good area of support sometimes. So if that's the case, if it's only sometimes, then maybe we need to look for something else. Now, look, the bearish scenario here is the fact that we are still below all of my EMAs here on the daily chart, and that's kind of where the tricky bit comes in. So if you are looking for some like higher levels, then probably the easier option here is to wait for a push above the 104.26 territory right here. This way, a forthcoming higher high will be confirmed, and we would push above all the EMAs here as well. So basically, we would be looking at some higher levels then. I mean, potentially more buyers could join it. But given that we have a special day today, yep. So keep your eyes on this upside line. I mean, if that gets cleared, then yes, lower levels could be met. Jumping into gold, so continues to slide, to which everything is according to the plan. I talked about this yesterday. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, guys, because I mean, I keep on talking about gold every time, and so far, I mean, I cannot really change my analysis because everything's working out according to the plan. Because previously I talked about this this idea here, this upside line, said that if this gets broken, we fall below the 2009 zone. Yes, this could open the door towards lower levels. The psychological 2000 level could be the next target. Tick. Then it's the EMAs. But look, initially I will be targeting this area. I will be targeting the 100-day EMA together with the this kind of 38.2% retracement on my Fibonacci extension, which I have here drawn kind of from the lowest point of August of 2018 to the highest point of August of 2020 to the lowest point of September of 2022. And yes, and this kind of gives me an indication that basically I have this one in order to find a new all-time high, potential all-time high where it could go. But also at the same time, I want to see if this is going to work in the opposite direction where we already kind of tested those levels. But hey, this 38.2 on the Fibonacci extension is kind of very close to my 100-day EMA, perfect match. So that's why I'm keeping this for now on the chart. And to be honest, this is what I'm going to be targeting. This is the 1964-65 area. And then I'll go from there. Silver, so there we go. We're breaking the upside line. We fell below the 22.72 territory. So in a way, if we stay below that, I will continue targeting the downside. In terms of the upside, I need to see, well, this is where the thing is that I need to see a push back above the 200-day EMA. And then, yes, we will go from there. We will aim higher. And yes, we'll see what we can do further. But this is the area, the hurdle that I'm going to be aiming for in that case. So basically, if you're looking for some higher levels, you need to at least have a push back above that upside line. And then, yes, we could go from there. Let's jump into oil. So just a quick update. So far, so good. Yes, drifting nicely to the downside, and this is working out perfectly. I said to you that as long as we stay below the 72.38, I'm leaning towards the downside again. I'm aiming for that 69.70. And yes, so far, yes, it's working out nicely. Where my next target is the 67 zone, and then I'll go from there. I'm not gonna drag this one, let's say, further south or something like that. No, I'm gonna see what's gonna happen near the 67 mark, and yes, we will then take it from there. Now, I wanted to quickly jump into a weekly chart just to show you that we do have like some interesting levels here, interesting lines. So, for example, this one. And we have this upside line and kind of this key support zone, which is roughly basically around the 64.5 zone, something like that. So good potential target. Let's see if we can reach that eventually. Natural gas continues to slide as well. So there we go. No stopping for that one. And yesterday, I mean, it did push higher, and at some point it seemed like that it wants to stay above that 2.42 zone, but there we go, we fell off the cliff, and yes, we continue to slide. So my question is where the next area of support will be. I mean, I do have this level here, the lowest point of this year. Is that? Yep, that's correct, the lowest point of this year. But before that, we do have some other obstacles which could be nice. So the 2.13, or in general the psychological 2 level, that's something that everybody will be watching. So at the moment it seems like there is a good chance we could drift all the way back to that psychological 2 level. Let's jump into crypto, Bitcoin. So yes, Bitcoin did move lower, and so far, I mean, it's working out nicely. I said to you that as long as if we do drop and stay below the 43,000 mark somewhere there, then yes, I will go lower, and I'll consider a larger correction to the downside towards this upside line drawn from the low the 14th of November. Now, it seems like we're on the right track, yes, and Bitcoin here, I mean, I think that there's a bit of a liquidation happening. I mean, people are taking their profits, maybe because they're not seeing, like, let's say, further developments in the whole kind of Bitcoin ETF thing. Maybe that's the reason. So, or maybe a bit of a healthy correction is needed, as always, as we know. So in order for the bulls to jump in again. So at this point, long story short, the crypto here is drifting lower, and I think that I will stay with the downside scenario because I'm aiming for this upside line drawn from the low the 14th of November. Ethereum, just a quick one, also the same story. We're drifting lower, so not much to talk about here. And but on this one, we've already reached my targets. Because my target was the 2,150 zone. So yes, there we go. We've reached that one, and now I'm just observing the price action. I want to see if we're going to get a clear break here of this upside line. If we can get that break, then yes, great. More sellers could join in, and we could target this upside line drawn from the low the 27th of October. Dogecoin, Elon coin. So it is, yes, it drifted back below the 0.0950 territory. I spoke about that before. And yes, so far it seems like we are on the right track for a bit of a larger correction to the downside. In case you're looking for some higher levels, well, guess what? The safer option, a little bit of a safer option. I wouldn't say like the safest option, no, but just a safer option is to kind of wait for a pop above that 0.1050 territory again, and then we'll go from there. Let's jump into Forex very quickly. AUDUSD. This one is at a very interesting spot as well. So yes, look, I mean, I said to you before, this is the same analysis. The same analysis is still valid. Yesterday, we were trying to pop back above the 0.6590, 95 zone, something like that, but we failed to stay above it, and we drifted back down. But we're still holding above the 200-day EMA. Now, I said to you before that I need to see a break of one of these trend lines in order to go or in order to consider the next short-term directional move. For now, we are just observing the price action. AUDNZD, beautiful move here. So look, I talked about this as well yesterday. I said that if we do drop below this 1.0705 territory and stay below it, then yep, this increases the chances for a move lower. But at the same time, I said, look, maybe we have ourselves an inverted head and shoulders pattern with the neckline being here. And there we go. We're breaking the neckline. And this, yes, of course, it's opening the door towards some higher levels. And I think that any little throwback here could be seen as a good opportunity maybe to step in and potentially aim for this downside line drawn from the high of the 1st of November of this year, and then we'll go from there. NZDUSD is drifting lower, and that's why we're seeing AUDNZD drifting nicely to the upside. So, but NZDUSD, yep, is drifting lower. We fell below this little hurdle, the 0.61 zone. So now the question is, can we go further south? Well, to be honest, I have this upside line here drawn from the low the 1st of November. So if that gets cleared, then yes, I will go higher. Oh, sorry, I will go higher. I'll go lower. If we get a nice clearance of this upside line, then yes, I will go lower, because at the same time we would drop below all my EMAs here, and we could potentially see a further move south. Now, NZDCHF here, also drifting lower, but again, we're getting a hold up near this downside line, which we broke previously. Now, I said to you before, as long as we stay above that downside line, then yes, there is a good chance we could see like a rebound and a push back up. But if we start breaking it and we fall below the 0.53 territory, then, well, this may lead to some lower levels. And then we'll go from there. USD JPY, guys, USDJPY, we're stuck. We're near this downside line. It seems that the market is waiting for today's events, and yes, of course, if we see some buying action in the in the US dollar, then a break of this downside line could happen. We could see higher levels, but I said it before that my upside scenario will be from this 146.2823 zone, and then I'll go from there. For the downside, I need to drop below this hurdle, below this 144.54 territory, because at the same time we will fall below the 200-day EMA, and basically will be placed below all my EMAs on the daily chart, and then yes, I will go further south. USDCAD, there we go. It's yesterday, beautiful rebound from the 200-day EMA. Perfect. So far, so good. I talked about this, and yes, I mean, at the moment, I am looking at some higher levels, but I said before, and I'll say it again, I need that stronger move above the 1.36 territory in order to consider just a larger correction to the upside towards this downside line, because again, if this downside line provides good resistance, another decline could be possible. So, long story short, for now, yes, I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this barrier here, this 1.36 zone. If we can clear it, then great. I will go for some higher levels. US dollar against the Mexican peso. I haven't looked at this one for quite a while, but look, my EMAs are doing a good job, and that's why I have drawn them here. I have put them on the chart, and yes, those are doing a good job. So basically what I needed here is a push above my 50 and the 100-day EMAs, and then my next target will be this 200-day EMA near the 17.62 area, somewhere around here, and then I'll go from there. For the downside, I'm still sticking to a very conservative approach. A drop below the psychological 17 territory would be required. GBPUSD. GBPUSD is also, yes, it's also doing what I asked it to do. So I asked it here on the 7th of December last week to go for a bit of a correction, and maybe then rebound from this upside line. But of course, let's see if that's going to happen eventually, because again, at the moment we're just flirting with the zone. So for now, yes, I mean, if we by any chance break this upside line, yes, I will start looking at I'll start considering some lower levels, but probably I'll get a little bit more comfortable with that idea if we do drop somewhere below this 1.2456, because at the same time we might drop below the EMAs here. Now, GBPCHF, and this one is breaking my lower side of the range. However, I'm not rushing into things yet because this is just the early hours of the European morning, and maybe this will end up being as a false breakout. But so if by the end of the day we travel back up, well, guess what? A beautiful range might be confirmed. However, at the moment it's breaking it, so we have to kind of consider lower levels right now. So at the moment, I mean, that's the situation, that's the game plan. So maybe the next target could be somewhere around here first, and then we'll go from there. So this 1.0915 could be the next target, and then yes, we'll go from there. EURGBP is pushing back up. So look, I talked about this one as well. I said to you that in order for me to go higher, I need to see at least a push back above this 0.8615 territory. We're coming closer to that area, but that's why I'm not rushing into things. I'm just observing the price action. In terms of the downside, a drop below the 0.8558 territory would be nice in order to consider some lower levels. EURJPY, also very similar like to USDJPY. We're also flirting with this downside line. So if we do get a nice clearance of that one, great. I will go higher, but initially probably I need to go towards my 100-day EMA, and then I'll take it from there. If that gets cleared, perfect, we can go further up. But at the same time, look, if this downside line somehow provides good resistance, and we see the rate falling below the 200-day EMA on the daily chart here, well, I mean, I will consider maybe a bit of a move back down. And finally, EURUSD. So yes, it still remains in this little territory right here. So if you're looking for some higher or lower levels, basically the same game plan is still valid. For me, the upside scenario will come on a break above the 1.0832. For the downside, I need to see a drop below the 1.0756, and then we'll go from there. So because if we do drop below the 1.0756, then we at the same time fall below all my EMAs on the daily chart, and that could be seen as a bearish indication. Yes, we are above all of the EMAs right now, and this could be seen also as a bullish indication, but I need that pop up of the 1.0832 zone somewhere right here, and then I'll go from there. So guys, oh, and by the way, just a quick mentioning of this. So this kind of is working out interestingly. So look, a while ago when I talked about the yields, the government, the U.S. government bond yields here, they were declining, and then that's understandable because they decline when the stock market pushes higher. And here we stabilized a little bit, as you can see, rebounded from the 200-day EMA because that was initially what I was aiming for. My question now is, can we actually drop below that 200-day EMA? Well, that's a good one because maybe a bit of a retracement here would be nice. So if we do put the Fibonacci, basically if we do apply the technical analysis on this, I mean, it might just work out nicely. So at the moment, I'm considering that reversal, a potential reversal towards that 23.6, towards that 100-day EMA, and then we'll go from there. If that gets cleared, yes, I will go a little bit more to the upside, but what I'm trying to say here is that keep your eyes on it, because if this is going to start pushing higher, then, well, the stock market could move a little bit for a correction, lower, could move a little bit lower for a correction. So yes, so that's going to be my game plan. But again, let's wait and see, guys. For now, everything's looking quite interesting. We're at the end of the month, so we'll have a look how this day rolls out, because again, like I said, keep your eyes on the Fed today, guys. Be very careful. Don't try to predict the future. Just probably wait until all the decisions come, and then see the market reaction, and then position yourselves accordingly, because most important is to stay safe. Yep, have your stop losses in place, risk only what you can afford to lose, and yes, and don't overtrade. That's very, very important, and everything will be fine. So guys, have a beautiful trading day today. Stay safe, and I'll see you tomorrow, 7 o'clock GMT time. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.
Want to continue to please the trading gods? Subscribe to our channel for a blessing.